How's it going, everyone? This is TinyHippo with LoudNoisesGaming, welcoming you to the newest installment of You Just Got Learned. In this episode, we're going to be talking about advanced YouTube backgrounding with GIMP. Now, I was surfing around YouTube the other day for good tutorials on advanced YouTube backgrounding from scratch, but all I saw were them teaching you how to just download their or other people's templates and insert your own text and HTML mapping and whatnot, but they already had all the tabs laid out. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do something like this. 1 second till it opens up. Something like this with the side tabs and whatnot completely from scratch. So, but before we start, you're going to have to, if you haven't seen my first video, in my first video there is a link in the description for a template which isn't all of this right here. It's just these little blue lines right here and a blank canvas behind. And what these little blue lines represent is this black center right here is where all the videos and whatnot and your content on your page are going to go. And all this is what makes your web page or your YouTube channel look awesome. So you don't need to go back to my other video because I'm gonna paste that link in the description box below. So don't worry about that. Just make sure you download that before we start. So I'm gonna exit out of this and then reopen GIMP, and we're gonna start completely from scratch. Now guys, keep in mind that this is advanced theming or advanced backgrounding with GIMP, so this will take a while. There's like 15 or something layers that's going to go into this. So let me open this up real quick. And as I open this up, you're truly going to see that we're really starting from scratch. See, all you have is these blue lines right here. So the first thing we're going to do is this is the background, and we're not going to create anything. We're just going to fill it with foreground color, and I'm going to go basic black. And I think for this background we're going to go with a black and gold color scheme. But before we add any gold, we're going to go ahead and select our paths tool, and this is what's going to give you those tabs on the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off probably up here, and we're going to do a straight line. I'm going to keep it easy for this video. Probably a straight line. Hold on. Do that. Probably a straight line all the way down here. Make sure that's oh, you know what I forgot to click? Hold on. You guys gotta make sure it's clicked on polygonal. Alright. So we're gonna do that. See how I can move it around now. And then I'm probably gonna make it go down here. That seems like a good spot. And then you don't have to click on anything else. Just click wherever you want the other place to go, wherever you want it to bevel in. And then down some more. Probably about like right here. That seems good. And then bevel in once more. You guys don't even have to listen to what I'm doing. You guys can really make it whatever you want because it's your channel. So you guys can go wild with these tab designs for all I care. I want to make this a little bit thinner because we're going to want it to be nice and slim. Okay. Alright, that seems about good. And then we're going to click on this one. And then we're going to go all the way back up here. And then the last thing we're going to click is, let me drag this up a little bit, make sure it's nice and covered. Last thing we're going to click is selection from path. And see how it's going to outline this thing right here. And this is basically a, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to add a new layer. New layer. We're going to name this tabs. ASB tabs. Okay. Tabs, layer, tabs, layer. Tabs. Select none. Let me see if this is you know. Sorry, I'm gonna need to go back because we have to have the new layer. Forgot that. Okay, new layer. Tabs. Okay, now let me just redo that real quick. It won't take me long, so I'm not explaining anything. But we're gonna do that. We're gonna bevel in, go down once more, maybe a little bit more. Yeah. And then bevel in once more. And then we're going to go all the way back up here. And then we're going to click selection from path. And that's going to cut that out. And this is going to be in our new layer. So what we're going to do is, since we're going to go with a gold color scheme, well, I am. You guys can go with whatever color scheme you want. But I'm going to go down to these golds right here and select a cool looking gold. That looks pretty cool. Okay, and then we're going to do that, edit, and fill with foreground color. So now that we have that, we're going to go to select and then none. And then you can select your move tool and that'll just go away and you'll see what adds here. And it does look a little blocky right now, but that will change once we add all of our effects. So what we're going to do now is we're going to left click. Actually, we're going to add some of our effects right now. So what we're going to do is, how about we go to airbrush and we're going to select the sponge tool. And we're going to make it pretty big because we want it to look kind of distorted. Not that big, maybe around like 300. 350, that should be good. And we're going to right click on that, alpha to selection, make sure this is set to black. Okay, we're going to switch that around, make sure so we can color this black. And what you're going to do, since it's the airbrush, you're going to hold down and it's going to do that. Okay, so you're just going to want to hold down. Maybe you want some spots darker, so you're going to do that. Maybe, yeah, that looks cool. Alright, now in this, I'm going to have the lighting coming from up here and going down, and then down here is going to get darker. So that's going to be our lighting effects. And then I'm going to make this a bit darker up here. That looks a little blurry. Let's not do that. That looks good. Alright. Alright, now that we have that, we're going to go to select, none, and see how that. And we're going to go to right click over here, and we're going to click duplicate layer. So now that we have that layer duplicated, we're going to select tabs copy, and we're going to go to tools, transform tools, and flip. And now what we're going to do is just click somewhere, and it's going to flip that over to the side, so now you have a perfectly symmetrical tab on this side. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to add the lighting. So what we're going to do, you're going to select your rectangle select box, and you're going to select this whole area right here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to select your blend tool right here. Let me make sure. And you're going to select your shaped angular shape. And since it's like that, I'm going to select over here, and it's going to turn out like that. Let me go down. Crap. I brought a new layer. I'm dumb. New layer. We're going to create it, call it shading. Select OK. And then just do that thing with a rectangle again. Highlight that. Okay. Select your blend tool. And then we're going to shade inside this box right here. So shade that. Should go a little bit faster this time since we're not working with all this crap. And then do that below. So yeah, I think we're going to go with maybe a gray. Maybe a gray would look a little better. So let's undo that. What the heck? Undo. And then let's go with a dark gray. Okay. Alright. So now let's select our blend tool, and then we're going to go foreground to background or background to foreground, and shaped angular. And you're going to want to drag it down diagonally so that it creates a nice shading effect with lighting coming from this area. And make sure that that's below here. and you're gonna want to get it just right. Maybe. Alright, maybe we can bring this in a little bit. Alright, we're going to make our rectangle tool go about here, because that's all we're going to need our shading to go to. So you're going to select your blend tool, and that. Let it blend, and select down here. So now you see we're going to have a little bit of lighting right here. So you can keep blending so that it suits whatever your needs are, whether you want more lighting on the side or less lighting. And we're going to cover up this area right here, so you don't need to worry about all this, because if you don't cover up this area, you're going to have unnecessary and unwanted lighting in your YouTube, in the middle of your channel, and that's not good. We don't want that. So you're just going to keep playing with this until you get the right shading that you want. I don't know why it's taking so long to blend. It usually doesn't. Alright, I guess we'll stick with that. And then we're going to create a duplicate layer of that, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to select none, make sure our shading copy is selected. We're going to go to transform tools and flip, and all you're going to do is click, and then probably move this over just a bit. That seems right. That seems about good. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer, name this cover, hit OK, and we're going to select our rectangle tool and then just draw a big box in the middle right here. Okay, so it covers that whole thing. Make sure it covers every little bit of it, and then we're going to go to edit and fill with foreground color. See, now that's black and you have some lighting right here. Now we're going to add some depth to this by selecting tabs copy, whatever you want. First you got to select none. See, that's going to be all black. And tabs copy. We're going to go to filters, lights and shadow, and drop shadow. And what you're going to want to do, see how it goes positive and negative, and we're going to stick with 8 because that seems about an appropriate drop shadow length. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a shadow right here to give it some depth, and we're going to click OK. See, now it just gave it a lot of depth and it looks a lot more three-dimensional. So now we're going to click over on this tabs over here to the left tab, and we're going to do the same exact thing. Lights and shadow, drop shadow, except on this one you're going to go with -8 instead of +8, because if you went +8 it would create the drop shadow on this side and you'll be able to see it. With -8 it'll create the drop shadow on this side and it'll look the same exactly as this side, just flipped. Select OK, and I'll do the same thing. Now what I'm going to do with this one is I think I'm going to create some more tabs right here. So we're going to select our paths tool again, and then click somewhere in here so that it doesn't overlap. But we do want it to overlap. And then probably going to go right here, maybe a little up, and then yeah, I'm going to start up there, and then down here, and then maybe like that, because I'm going to create some more tabs over here, and what these tabs are going to be is HTML mapping or image mapping. And what that's going to do is it's going to create links to different web pages or whatever you guys want on your channel. So I'm going to do that, maybe a little bit more beveled, And with that, I'm going to make it a darker gold, and it's going to look like it's shadowed behind that. Alright, so we're going to go with this gold, but make it a bit darker. Probably like that. Okay. And then what we're going to do now is select up here, and then move this up a little bit. And then where is our path tool? And then we're going to go to selection from path. It's going to select that out. And we're going to want this new one. Crap. I'm just messing up today, guys. Wouldn't take me too long. Alright, I forgot to create a new layer again. New layer. We're going to name this second tabs. Okay, and we're going to just create that one more time. Start from up here, go down here, maybe right here, and then create right here. Make sure it's nice and straight, don't want anything to look crooked, and then bevel out right here. And then go all the way back up here. Make sure it's nice and straight. Yeah, this is going to be behind it, so it doesn't really have to be that straight, but you still want to look professional. So you're going to select that. That should be good, and then select from path. And then what you're going to do right here is going to edit and fill with foreground color. And why didn't I do it? There we go. See, now maybe a bit darker of a gold would be good. Okay, edit and fill the foreground color. Now it's darker of a gold. It looks like a shadow behind it. So now what I'm going to do is go to my airbrush tool. I'm going to select my sponge brush once more and give it the same distorted look. And since it's alpha to selection, it's only going to put that sponge on this area right here instead of this area. So that's what I like about the alpha to selection option, is because if it weren't alpha to selection and we had that big of an airbrush, it would get all over here and you'd be able to see it all in this area. So we're going to do that, and then take that over here, make sure it's black. Okay, switch that over. I'm going to do the same exact thing. Maybe a bit darker since it's behind it. Looks like it's shadowed. And as the same thing with the other one, with this one we're also going to add a drop shadow just to add more depth to it, make it look professional. Okay, so now we're going to go to filters, lights and shadow, and drop shadow. And we're going to make sure it's +8 so that it goes to the right side instead of the left side. Click OK, and that should add a nice drop shadow. I'm going to select none, show you how that looks. See, now it adds some more depth. Alright, now that we have that second tabs, we're going to create a duplicate layer of that, and then that's going to go tools, transform tools, and flip. It's going to flip that over there, and then we're going to go with drop shadow right where'd that drop shadow go? Alright, I think. Alright, we can just select the tabs copy. Second tabs copy right here. And then we can go to filters. Let's alpha to selection first. Filters, lights and shadow, drop shadow, -8 instead of regular 8. Okay, and it's going to add that nice drop shadow right there. Select none so you guys can see it. Alright, and then what this is going to do, I'm going to add some text now. And of course, I'm going to go with subscribe. Now, you guys don't have to copy exactly what I'm doing. Like I said before, this is your channel. You guys can do what you want with it, and just get whatever fonts you want. Really, it doesn't really matter. It's your channel. This is just personally my style, and this is what I like. Make that white, but all the way up top so that we can see it. Okay. Alright, so now that we have that, we're going to make it a bit smaller so that it'll fit in this area right here. Probably around like 95. That's good, yeah, 95, 93. Alright. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go down box dynamic so that it's nice and hugged to this text right here. And we're going to go to Tools, Transform Tools, Rotate, and negative 90.00. Rotate. So now it's going to read up, and we're going to select our Move tool. Not that. Make sure you got to get it right on the letters, and move it right here. Now what we're going to do with this to add even more depth with this is we're going to go to right click, Alpha to Selection, and we're going to go with Filters, Lights and Shadow, and add another drop shadow to this. And make sure it's at +8 this time, and you want it to read to the right. Alright, that's out of drop shadow, and then select none. You guys see how that looks. See, add some more depth to it. And then what I'm going to do now, just so we can see the subscribe better, is I'm going to go with tabs right here and Alpha to Selection. I'm going to go back with my airbrush and make this darker. See what it's doing right there? It adds a little bit more depth to it, and we're going to be able to see the subscribe more, and it's going to contrast and it's going to pop out a lot more. Alright. Make this a bit darker because we're going to add some more words right here too. Alright. Did that. Now we're going to add some more text. Make sure you select none. You always got to do that before you move on to the next thing. Alright. I'm going to put watch this time. Make it diffused and color white. Okay, make it bigger, probably about that big, maybe 130. That'll be good. Alright, and then we'll go down to box dynamic, make it hug the watch really nice. And we're going to go to Tools, Transform Tools, and Rotate. Make sure this is regular 90 instead of negative 90, because you want it to read down instead of up. And rotate. We're going to select our Move tool and move this right over here. But we're going to make sure that it's on top of everything. Alright, got that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to Alpha to Selection on this, and we're going to go to Filters, Lights and Shadow, and add a drop shadow to this. Make sure it's -8 so that it reads to the left. Alright. Got that. Select none. You guys see how that looks? Adds a lot more depth to it. I mean, you guys can go wild with this, create more and more tabs if you want. I mean, I showed you guys how to create the lighting effects. It looks pretty cool, looks pretty professional. And yeah, go wild, have fun, and get learned. See you guys.